Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Drobo Broadcast Network. My name is Mario Blandini at Drobo, and today's topic, we're talking about sharing and streaming your personal content from anywhere with anybody. It doesn't have to be hard. It really can be easy. And joining us for today's program is special guest Jed Putterman, who is Chief Product Officer and one of the executives at Cloud Engines, which is the makers of Pogoplug. How are you doing today, Jed?
I'm doing just great. Thanks, Mario.
All right. We are going to talk about approaches to remote access and media streaming and sharing content from a personal cloud. It should be fun. In terms of a background, users do often want to access their files, which might be physically stored on a device in their home or their home office, and they want to share them with others, but they want to access it while they're outside of that particular location. That's where the concept of personal cloud becomes interesting. In terms of your knowledge and expertise in this area, Jed, you've worked for several companies in this area, but Cloud Engines specifically has expertise. Maybe you can give a little bit of information about Cloud Engines.
Yeah, that's great. We've been around for about 5 years now, and our whole mission has been how do you unlock all of the data that you have sitting anywhere, in your home, in your office, or in the traditional cloud, and make it accessible for yourself or to be able to share or collaborate with your friends and colleagues.
The concept of a personal cloud started about that time 5 years ago. Who would have thought that people needed a cloud for the stuff that's going on at their house or their small office? You guys have put a lot of thought into delivering those sort of capabilities for users, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's what we saw happening, really starting many years ago, but it's accelerated over the last few years, is people are storing huge amounts of data in their home, and obviously, you guys are really the experts in this. But we're certainly not telling people to go buy more storage. They're already doing that in the form of, Drobos and external hard drives, et cetera. And so what we wanted to do is to make all of that data, which is, now going into the terabytes at home, your videos, your photos, your music, all of your important files, as easily accessible as something that you put up into traditional cloud. It should all be available, anywhere you are.
Our feeling, when's the last time someone took a photo with 35 millimeter film, the analog way, right? Not a lot of folks are doing that unless you're a photo enthusiast, and that tends to be your hobby. No one would have expected people to be accumulating this much storage at their home or at their home office. And we at Drobo agree. If your storage solution looks like the diagram on this slide with lots of different devices, getting it all consolidated in one place is something that helps you protect and manage it more efficiently. But from a personal cloud perspective, it allows you to access it also from anywhere when you have the ability to do that. I think it's really the desire to access data from other locations that's driving this. I myself, I do a fair bit of traveling, but in your experience, Jed, what is it about being able to access from away from the home that people are mostly looking for? What are the big use cases?
Well, there's a few that we feel are really important. So the first thing is, when you have that much storage, you're not going to bring it along with you. And in fact, if you look at the trend in computers these days, the storage is actually getting smaller and smaller. And one of the most important computers that we carry around with us is actually our cell phone now. So if you look at Android and iPhone and all the other smartphones out there, the adoption rate is incredible. But the one thing they have consistently across them is just not a lot of storage. So, first case is just I have lots of stuff at home. I have important work documents. I have photos I want to be able to look at and videos I want to be able to stream. How do I get access to all of those? And, again, that huge amount of data from wherever I am with a device that simply doesn't have a lot of storage on it. And the other use case is, some of the stuff I want to have for myself, but a lot of it I really want to be able to share and collaborate on with other people. And so how do I do that when I'm remote? I want to initiate that when I'm not at home for stuff that I don't have with me, and those are the kind of the two use cases that we're really excited about.
You talked about those different use cases, and we'd agree that anybody today could probably build their own personal cloud using freely available components in the marketplace. The challenge is it can be really complicated. So we've aimed in this basic architecture to give you an idea of how you could put together the solution that we're talking about today. You'd need some place from which to share it, a central computer that's where the storage is located, as well as high-speed internet access. You talked about the files being very large. It was not previously possible to get access to things unless you had a very big network. And companies had an IT person. They can configure their routers and build VPNs and do things from a technology perspective that enabled people to access things from outside of the office, kind of a difficult thing to do. Taking that now to the concept of a home or a home office, it really has to be made easy, but you don't need a whole lot of components there. In your experience, Jed, is 3G, 4G service enough in order to provide access to this stuff, or do you need Wi-Fi, which increasingly these days is available just about everywhere?
Yeah, I mean, there's really two sides to it, right? So one is where the actual storage is. Let's assume it's in your home or office now. Typically you'll have a pretty high-speed internet connection out of your home, and what we found is that even the most average internet speeds, upload speeds out of your home or office are more than sufficient. The other side is where are you? And so yeah, if you're on your cell phone or sitting there with a laptop connected to a 3G card, those download speeds are actually more than sufficient to even stream high-quality videos using Pogoplug. And one of the things that we do is we play all sorts of tricks to look at what are the speeds out of your home or office, and what are the speeds of the device that you're on right now, and the screen resolution, and we'll actually automatically adapt to make sure that you can always watch a video or look at photos or listen to music wherever you are and whatever speed internet connection you have.
It's our belief from a storage perspective that you want to make sure the stuff's protected. And we'll give advice on different ways to protect data throughout today's discussion, but having some protected storage at home is great. You don't want to risk losing that to a hard drive failure. As well, you want to be able to get access to that from your various devices while you're outside. A lot of people think of mobile because it seems to be the easy thing, but there's a lot of folks that might even want to get access from somebody else's computer. You're going out to a client site. If you're a home-based business, you could use their computer to get access to your stuff on a full screen and project that at their office without having to carry a lot of that stuff around with you. I think the idea of a personal cloud is that you can have access to all your stuff without having to carry it all around with you. Very consistent with the whole idea of an iPod. People don't have CD changers anymore. They carry around their CD changer in their pocket.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And, the piece you mentioned before that's really important for us is around security. And so if you're going to have access to all of your information, you need to feel confident that it's done in a way that only you have access to it, or if you want to share it, that only the people you're sharing it with have access. So, we love the combination of Drobo and Pogoplug for that reason. If it's at your home, the Drobo is taking care of the actual physical security in the sense that if you lose a drive, obviously you're not going to lose any of your data. And Pogoplug is taking care of the other side of the security, which is, how do I make sure that I'm not exposing anything outside of my home? How do I make sure that I'm not opening ports that someone else can get back in? And so, you mentioned before about the ability to build a system like this, and, we agree. There are some real technical solutions that you can put together that will give you something similar. But unless you're, a real expert, what will end up happening is you'll end up, doing things like opening ports in your firewall and things that you really don't want to be doing. Pogoplug is just the opposite. It takes care of all of the security for you. So you know that when you have access, you're the only person who has access to your data.
In terms of requirements for a personal cloud, I have here, Jed, that accessibility and simplicity are the number one, number two. I think security is a given, though. It must be secure. It can't open up the data to vulnerabilities or open up things that can be compromised. It's one of the reasons why companies use a virtual private network and they have elaborate network security and an IT person to do all of that for them, or they pay a service to go ahead and do that. Most folks at their home, they're not going to have the time or the resources to go ahead and do that. So based on a platform of security that enables all of that, in terms of use, really accessibility is the key and simplicity. We believe that it's best to install software in this sort of environment that's familiar to you. So rather than configuring networking devices or configuring things from a storage interface perspective, having a PC or a Mac computer, a very familiar environment, lends itself to the concept of simplicity, and the software then takes care of all of the security as you went ahead and mentioned. What are some other things that people want to make sure that they understand before they go into a personal cloud?
Well, I mean, you want to make sure, first of all, that you have the ability to access everything that you're interested in. So, size, speed, security are probably the three main things. And you'll have some information that you have at home. You'll have other information that you want to put up in a more traditional environment, in a more traditional hosted environment. We provide both of those. But really, like you said, the ability to do this without thinking about it. So it's that simplistic, how do I get this thing up and running in, under 30 seconds? And that's really been our goal.
Yeah, and the administration, having installed the Pogoplug solution myself, is great. My wife's already streaming stuff to her iPad, which is fantastic. And we'll talk a little bit more about the optimization for streaming, which I think is a cool feature that is kind of a bonus. The basic requirements, though, here we talk about being met in creating a personal cloud. We also think that fixed costs for sharing and streaming are kind of important, and that's something that the solution can also provide you in terms of unlimited access to all the different storage that you have inside your home for your personal cloud. All right, talking about leveraging a personal cloud, there are some concerns. You mentioned security. Really, there's limited storage on mobile devices. Face it, you can't sync things. So I think one of the problems that presents itself is I'm away from my home or my home office. I have large amounts of data that I want to take around with me, but syncing just doesn't fit with life these days, as time-consuming as it can be. So this is really one of the fundamental foundations of a personal cloud, as well as where the concept of having cloud-based storage also comes into play. So can you talk a little bit about how the Pogoplug solution addresses the concerns around security and sharing, as well as eliminating that sync concept, because that alone is really one of the most interesting things about the solution.
Yeah, that's really true. Sync is a really interesting concept. It's been around for years and years, and one of the reasons it was there was to address the lack of a cloud, actually, which is, if I wanted to have this file or series of files on multiple devices, the only way was to make a copy on each one of those devices. And we think that, as the amount of storage grows, that model simply doesn't work anymore. And you have to have a primary storage location where everyone has access to it, so I don't have to make multiple copies of my really large files. Take one of these. A video I take on my iPhone these days is 1080p and can be hundreds of megs for just a few minutes.
Right.
So I don't want to have it sitting on multiple computers. I want all of my computers to have access to it. And this is where we're kind of almost the anti-sync idea, where make it available to everyone. But don't force everyone to have a copy on their computer. So, for example, if I want to share a video with you, I already have that video sitting potentially at home. I may have even put it in my hosted storage, which I have, again, which is all part of my personal cloud. But that's where that copy resides. When I share it with you, I want you to be able to experience that movie, so you can stream it, you can watch it and really enjoy it. If you want to have a copy, you can download it, but that should be your choice. I shouldn't force that on you.
Yeah, that's great. I think that the idea of making it easy by eliminating sync and having a straightforward way of accessing the content, you never have to worry about being without it. I can remember the Palm Pilot days of, oh, darn it, I forgot to sync my latest calendar, so I didn't have all of that information. These days, online is really what people are looking for, and you talked about throughout the architecture, storage wasn't practical because network connections weren't there and the technology didn't exist. But we're at a time now where personal cloud is a really easy reality because the connectivity exists there, and there's solutions like Pogoplug which help make it easy so you can have access on demand without filling up your mobile devices. Thanks for that information. Yeah, in terms of collaboration, we at Drobo are excited about Pogoplug specifically for this, because a lot of folks are using this in their home and they want to have collaboration on photos with their family, or they're using it in a home office where they want to have collaboration. And this can be done via various online services, but it was difficult to configure. You almost need an IT guy to do it. If you want to do it inside of your home on your storage. So with the personal cloud concept, you now have the ability to collaborate with friends and colleagues. Talk to us a little about the functionality that exists in Pogoplug in this area.
Okay, great. Yeah, collaboration is really important for us too. We think this is one of the real key features. And like you said, it has to be easy. It should never be more than one or two clicks away from being able to share a space where you and your friends or colleagues can all work together on projects or really anything that you want to have, files coming in and people having access to, shared access to all this. So, our version of collaboration is being able to take a space, in this case it's going to be a folder on your Drobo or on your computer, and enabling multiple people to be able to work in that same space. Now, we still have the idea of security, so you can be the primary administrator, and I can give other people just read-only access, or I can give them the ability to write into there and work on the same files as me. And again, this is all done literally with a single click from anywhere. So even if you're out and about and on your mobile device, you can enable one of the folders back in your computer to be a Collaborate folder, and suddenly you have this shared space where you and multiple people can all work together and put files and modify files so that you're always up to date.
This is a web interface that we're looking at here in this example. So anybody with a web browser can go ahead and do this. So in the sense of you being on your laptop, as an example, away from your home office or away from home, you could get access to those photos, to those work documents from your laptop or anybody else's laptop. The only requirement here is that users would have a Pogoplug ID or have an account with Pogoplug. That's pretty easy to set up, right?
Yeah, I mean, that takes about 10 seconds. If you go to pogoplug.com and you put in your email address and password consistently through Pogoplug, that is the key to access all of your data, regardless of where it's stored. So you can have the software running at home. You can have the Pogoplug cloud-hosted storage, which we give you, and in fact, we're offering 10 gigs for free in conjunction with Drobo, and the physical Pogoplug devices. By putting your email address and your password into either the web browser or native apps for iPhone, iPad, and Android, you have access to all of your data in the same interface, regardless of where it is.
What do you think the big use cases are? The example talks about more of a home environment where you've got kids' school projects, music, and such. Do you see this equally beneficial to individuals as well as folks in a small business, or are there some particularly important things to consider if you're using this for business?
I mean, our user base is really divided, pretty equally between the two. So we have a lot of consumers who are using this, certainly for personal use, but also family projects, school projects. We have, whole families that keep all of their photos from various trips they take together in a unified place. And of course, it means that you not only have the local copy, but now you have this kind of shared place where for security reasons that you have another copy. And of course, importantly, is that you guys can all take a look at each other's photos, the ones that you feel are relevant to whatever project or trip you took. On the business side, we have lots of small businesses that are using this to collaborate on video projects together. They're working on various office documents, all the way through to using this thing to literally work and create on music files together. Anytime there's more than a single person that needs to have access and work on shared files.
Yeah, and these days it seems like no one's in the same place at the same time. So this technology really does make a lot of sense in providing collaborations. One of the reasons why we're really excited about it, because a lot of folks who have Drobos do have the need to share that with others and collaborate with other folks. Now, on the playback side, you talked a little bit before about how you optimize for playback. So if you sync a file up to the Pogoplug cloud using the Pogoplug uploader, you automatically optimize it for streaming and do some transcoding to make that online and mobile playback more efficient. That's kind of important because you really wouldn't stream a DVD native over a 3G connection. You want to have it optimized for your device.
Yeah, videos are really one of the trickiest things to work with, and a lot of people are not aware of just how many formats and codecs and all sorts of crazy information there is about them, including the resolution and the bit rate and all the stuff that you really don't want to worry about or you really don't want to have to think about. And so one of the things that we do is make sure that the video that you store is simply always playable, regardless of what device you're playing from and what your internet connection is. If you have a faster connection, we'll use it. If you have a higher resolution device, we'll use it. So we'll always try to take advantage of what you have. But the key is just, get it up there. Don't worry about it. And when you want to stream it, make sure it streams. Never think about how it's actually doing that.
Right. It's part of making it easier and having a great experience. So streaming seems to be the thing. There's a big movement just in entertainment to go from traditional ways of accessing entertainment to the streaming method, and this is consistent with that. It's just your personal content that you get to stream from your personal cloud, which is really cool. A lot of folks have stuff. You might be able to stream it from other places, but this gives you the best of both worlds, the same experience of streaming, just for your own personal content.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly right. And of course, you still have all the security around it. So, again, classic example. I went to my daughter's swim meet this weekend, and I took a bunch of videos. And literally, minutes after that, I had my parents and friends and family were sitting there streaming, watching the experience. Now, they didn't want to own those videos; they simply wanted to watch them, and I was able to do that remotely from my iPhone using Pogoplug as the cloud.
Yeah, and Android devices work as well in that particular environment. So let's talk about cloud storage, Jed. People confuse the two because they think it's binary or one versus the other. If you don't want to have local storage, you put everything in the cloud. Or if you have cloud storage, but you don't want to use the cloud for whatever reason, you have to keep everything locally. And the truth is it's more of an and function than an or function. And there's some realities. Cloud storage is not quite the same price per capacity that you would have for local storage, and there's reasons to have both. So I know that you mentioned, and you teased it out before, the average person signing up for Pogoplug would get 5 gig of cloud storage for free, but a limited time offer for Drobo customers would be to get 10 gig, so we'll give you more information there at the end. That's really cool, but before we get into some of the specifics, what is it about cloud storage and the advantages of using that versus just remotely accessing the same content from your Drobo, from your personal cloud inside your home? What are the times that you'd want to be accessing it from cloud versus accessing it from your home storage?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, cloud is one of those kind of, misused words out there. And I think, the good news is people are really starting to get it now, what it is. And, our definition of cloud is pretty simple, is that you have really secure, safe access from anywhere, as long as you have an internet connection, to all of your stuff. And so, some of that stuff should be or can be hosted by us or, in an off-site location. And equally important is some of that stuff is going to be hosted by you. But the important thing is that it's all accessed exactly the same way. So it's all part of your cloud. And
right.
So, we're giving you some off-site storage, and we're going to be willing to sell you a little bit more of that. And like you said, it's, it's a little pricier, and what you're paying for is very, very high speed, stored in multiple locations, so it's redundant, safe, backed up, et cetera. It's great. You have, fantastic access to it, but, you're going to pay a little bit higher price for it. The stuff that you're going to host yourself is going to be a lot less expensive. You don't have to move it anywhere, so it's already on your Drobo. It's already on your computer. You just simply make it accessible by simply installing the software or buying a Pogoplug device, and you don't have to do anything with it. All but, again, accessible in exactly the same way. All the features, the streaming, everything's available. And so, where we will divide and say, look, if there's things that you want to have a little bit faster access, potentially you're going to be sharing it with more people at exactly the same time are going to be wanting to be streaming it. That kind of stuff you would put in the hosted storage component of the cloud. And everything else, keep it where it is, and you have the same access, and you'll have all the same great features.
Well, it's our opinion, Jed, that cloud storage does complement the stuff that's inside your home. Drobo's the provider of the physical storage that goes in your home. If you're shooting photos and videos on your mobile device, we've already established the reality that the amount of storage on your mobile device is rather small, so you can very easily use the cloud as the place from which you upload that mobile video capture to the cloud. Fantastic place to go ahead and put it in. Pogoplug makes that very easy with your mobile application. We also think it's a great place for additional protection of select files from your personal cloud so you can have off-site backup. Now, take the case of a photographer who might shoot large numbers of photos. They're doing often multiple pictures in the same snap, and they have a lot of pictures that they want to keep and protect, but not all of them are the, quote, golden master copies. So thinking of a balance of data, you might put your final projects, master projects, have those in the cloud because they provide a great benefit in the case of an unexpected disaster at your home or your primary location. I personally, my parents had a devastating fire and lost everything. So all the pictures, all the and these are the printed pictures, all those are gone. All the other sort of things they lost. You never think it's going to happen to you. Off-site backup's important, and while the cloud storage may not be able to allow you to back up your entire 5 terabytes of stuff that's on your Drobo, certainly you can put some very selective things up there, which would make sense. And those, as you mentioned, then enjoy the benefit of being even more accessible at higher speeds based on them already being in the cloud, not having to go from your storage through your high-speed internet out to the rest of the world. So cloud storage is a great complement to storage, and it's all part of your personal cloud here. So our goal was to not necessarily make it cloudy, trying to bring some clarity to the overall solution. Looking at how you might put that together for remote access, you have the Drobo within your home or your home office, there to protect you from a hard drive failure, also to provide you super easy to use and expandable capacity that's affordable and gives you the basis for where you store your personal content, certainly the large amount of your personal content. You do need a computer or laptop in this environment. It needs to be powered on so that while folks are yourself or people that you invite to securely access your content in your personal cloud, they would have access to the storage because that computer is on running the Pogoplug remote access software and doing all of the security setup, configuration, and serving of those pieces of data for the users that are outside of the home or the home office. Now, Pogoplug remote access software is available for a free trial. There's also a purchased version that enables you to do streaming. It's a low one-time cost that's available, and we have all the information on how you can get these components here on our solution page at drobo.com/Pogoplug. It's how you turn your storage into your personal cloud. And you mentioned, Jed, that for a limited time, you're offering double up on the amount of cloud storage that you get for free, 10 gig for Drobo users who go there and register. It's additional capacity that is there, and there's also additional capacity that can be purchased for a low monthly fee. That is coming soon. So this is the overall solution. It may look like there's a lot of parts, but frankly, it's going to be pretty easy to set up. And you mentioned, 30 seconds. You weren't exaggerating there, Jed. It really is a very quick and easy setup process, isn't it?
It's really fast. It's really streamlined. There's really nothing you need to do other than double click on an install package and walk through a simple wizard. In fact, we used to ship a bag of popcorn to our reviewers initially, and we'd have a bet with them that they could have everything up and running and be streaming their videos before the bag of popcorn finished, and I'm pretty sure we always won.
Yeah, well, Drobo recently had a speed test. Can you set up a Drobo FS in about the same time it takes you to toast a bagel? Unfortunately, the bagel won. It was nice and golden brown, nice and crispy, but it barely won. And there's a video on Drobo.com that shows you that particular challenge. Expect to see some more videos like that from Drobo real soon. Hey, on to the questions and the key takeaways. Well, a question I have for you is, how do I make sure my personal cloud information remains private? That's the number one question we're also getting online. And you hit on it a couple of times. Talk about how you go about doing the sharing and how that then enables it to be very secure for the data.
Oh, yeah, great. So again, security is a really big issue for us, and we're really proud of the work we put into it. First of all, your own access, again, is dictated by your email address and your password. If you never share anything, you are the only one who ever has access to your data, regardless of where it's being stored, whether it's in the hosted cloud or back at your house. When you do share, there are two ways of sharing. So one is based on getting a link. So you simply click on a file and ask for a link, and it gives you a link to that file or folder or even a song or a video, and you can give that out selectively to people. And whoever has that link can access that file that you shared with them. At any point, you can disable that link. So you always know that if you ever decide that you just want to stop sharing that file for any reason, single click disables it, and that link is then useless past that. The other way is around collaboration, and this is where if you want to make sure that only people that have signed in have a password and are limited to only the people that you're specifically naming for that folder, this is how collaboration works. So I know that if I invite you, you are the only person who can get in there, and furthermore, I can dictate exactly what you can do inside of that folder. So you can be a lead-only person. You can, I can give you the ability to add new files, but again, that's up to me, and I can always either change your permissions or I can remove your access to make sure that I'm in full control of all my data.
We have a lot of questions here, Jed, about encryption here coming in online. They want to know, is encryption part of the overall solution if someone's streaming it from outside of your home across the internet? Is it being encrypted between those two locations, and how should they be thinking of the state of the data as it's leaving the Pogoplug remote access software and going out over the internet?
Yeah, that's a great question. So definitely we do. Between your clients, your browser, for example, and our servers, we use SSL, so it's 256 bits encrypted. And then between our servers and your actual data, so either if it's hosted by us, then it's fully secure, and if it's coming from your computer, then it's also encrypted between your computer back to our servers. The entire path is secure.
Well, I'll make one point that the Pogoplug remote access software on the computer, the internal connection inside your house would not be encrypted, but you confirm for us, Jed, that as it leaves the computer, then out to the outside world, it's encrypted from that stage on, and that's where you'd expect it to be done. Inside your home, if you did have someone come in there, if you didn't have physical security, they could steal your storage and get access to it. So if you needed to encrypt it, you'd have to apply something else. The Pogoplug solution doesn't inherently encrypt the data that is resting on the disks at your home, but it does provide encryption for the data as it leaves, which is where people want that, which is good stuff. Hey, I have a question. Go ahead, Jed.
So yeah, that's exactly right. And one more thing also I'd say about security is, and we mentioned this before, but one of the things you don't want to do is ever open up ports in your firewall or your router back into your home. And this is something that Pogoplug doesn't do. So we have some really, really kind of innovative tricks around how we are able to tunnel in. And you mentioned the VPN before. We create effectively a VPN between your home or office and Pogoplug. So even that part is secure. It's a very secure solution.
All right, let's go rapid fire across some of the questions that we have here. Jed, the first one is answered around encryption. Yes, there is encryption as the data does leave home and go across the internet. A question here about collaboration. Can new documents be created through Pogoplug but saved to the local Drobo?
Yeah, so you can, great question actually, and you can. So you can upload files from anywhere. So I can be on my mobile device and I can actually take a photo and put it back in its original form onto my Drobo. I can be working, you'd mentioned this before, as another use case on someone else's computer. I can either using the software, we have a software called Pogoplug Uploader, or the browser. I can be working on a document. I can actually store it directly back to my Drobo, and we even have a drive application that we give away for free, where your Pogoplug Cloud looks like a local drive on any computer, regardless of where it is. And so I can be sitting there and actually working natively off of that drive, where the files are actually being stored back on my Drobo in my home.
Great stuff. And another question here, just a confirming one, that Pogoplug does support devices like Android and iPhone. The question is what about Windows 7 mobile?
So another really good question. We currently only have native apps for Android and iOS, so iPhone and iPad. We have browser access, of course, very, very rich browser access. So for right now, we'd say for any non-supported native handsets, you would have to use the browser. We are currently working on mobile-specific versions, so browser versions of non-native handsets, and we're always expanding our line of what browsers, what handsets we support. So keep an eye out for some future announcements.
That helps answer the next question here about plugins or software on a device to access the Pogoplug Cloud. You mentioned that there's browser for everybody, and there's some specific apps for handsets, but accessing files from the Pogoplug Cloud, to what extent do you need special software in order to do that?
Yeah, you really don't. I mean, the browser is the simplest way to access it from any computer or any device. And then if we do have native apps for the mobile, you can use those too. And then, of course, there is software for Mac, Windows, and Linux where you can make Pogoplug look like a drive, so you can access it from any computer.
Yeah, there's quite a few folks here asking questions about Pogoplug hardware. They already have the Pogoplug hardware deployed. So just for confirmation, that Pogoplug hardware is providing the remote access to the storage that's inside the location where the Pogoplug is. There's no need to add remote access software from Pogoplug if they've already got the Pogoplug hardware.
Yeah, so if you have a Drobo that you want to make remotely available, so you want to add it to your cloud, and you have a Pogoplug device, then we'd say take your Drobo and plug it into your Pogoplug device, and you don't have to have a computer on anymore running the software.
Right.
What it doesn't give you is if you have files on your computer or you have a Drobo that you do want to keep connected to your computer, then we'd say then install the software on those computers, and in addition to any storage you have on your device, all of that now becomes part of your cloud.
So you can use a combination of the remote access software and Pogoplug hardware altogether.
Absolutely. In fact, you can have multiple devices and multiple computers running the software, and they're all part of your cloud.
Great. So there's a question about signing in. If they want to access stuff that's in a personal cloud, there's a question, do you always have to sign in order to access the assets? And I imagine that you talk about authentication. There needs to be something there, but how does that work? Is it something that's just remembered on the computer, or is there an active sign-in process every time?
Yeah, so we definitely want to authenticate and make sure that you are who you say you are, and that's what we're doing with the sign-in and the password. If you're signing in through a browser, and one of the options we have is always keep me signed in. It's a little checkbox that you can check, and same with our software. So if you use the same computer and you're not worried about other people accessing that computer, then you can stay signed in, similar to what you would do with like a Gmail or Facebook. If you want to sign out, then the next time you go to access your data, it will ask you for your username and password for security reasons.
In terms of the key takeaways, users want to access files that are physically stored at their home or at their home office, and that's where a personal cloud really helps with that. And in today's discussion, we talked about Pogoplug, the remote access software solution, and as through our Q&A, the Pogoplug hardware as well. It turns storage like a Drobo that's in your home into a personal cloud, so you can access it from anywhere, and you get the great benefit of optimized playback for streaming when you go ahead and access multimedia type files. Now, Pogoplug Cloud also provides cloud storage, and we at Drobo think cloud storage is great for backup of select files from your personal cloud. Now, I've tried to draw the distinction, Jed, between Pogoplug Cloud and personal cloud, but really, in the context, if you have Pogoplug Cloud storage, it is part of your personal cloud. It just happens to be physically residing somewhere there in the internet. So that's one of those things. How do you normally keep that straight? I mean, is it personal cloud regardless of where it is? That's the part where I think a lot of people have questions, and they get a little bit confused because it's a little bit hard to conceptualize.
It is, yeah. So we, again, we like to kind of talk at a very high level, which is just about your cloud, which includes some stuff that we host and some stuff that you keep in your home. And so, really it's around, what do you keep off-site hosted by Pogoplug, and we'll call that Pogoplug Cloud, versus what do you keep, all accessible in your home, and that's your personal cloud. All of that, though, is accessible as your cloud in its entirety.
All right. So, the question about the Pogoplug Mobile: will it work with a Drobo FS? And yes, indeed. If you have the Pogoplug software installed in your home or your home office, it will give you access to any directly attached Drobos to the computer where the Pogoplug remote access software is running. As well, if you have that storage mapped through your home network to where the Pogoplug remote access software is running, you could have that be a part of your personal cloud. And any network devices we showed there in the diagram, like a Drobo FS, are great. All you have to do is just have that storage accessible by the computer that's running the Pogoplug remote access software. I want to thank you, Jed, a lot for today's discussion. I think folks are very interested, based on the level of questions that we had, about how they access stuff from outside their house. They want to be able to do that, and you guys have an offer. It's a limited time offer, just this week only. So think of it as a Thanksgiving, Black Friday, long weekend kind of a limited time offer. Your company is offering twice the amount of cloud storage that you'd normally get if you signed up just on the internet. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so it's really straightforward. I mean, literally, the sign-up process is pick an email address that you use and a password, and we'll give you 10 gigs. It's a great offer. It gives you all the same functionality. And, of course, again, most importantly, is that it ties in directly to your home storage as soon as you install the software. and just creates a single cloud for you to use, it's a fantastic offer. I tell people go ahead and sign up quickly because it is ending at the end of this week.
All right, and for folks who want to follow more from you, Jed, they could follow you on Twitter at Pogoplug. Do you have a personal Twitter that you want to, no pun intended, plug here before we close up?
No, actually, we have a Facebook page and blog.pogoplug.com and Twitter. We're Pogoplug on all of them. So, yeah, we welcome people to go ahead and follow us. We're always putting out exciting news.
All right. Now, as always, we thank you for your participation in today's program. Streaming your content from anywhere is a solution that a lot of people are interested in. And then the collaboration piece, I think, is really great for folks who have storage like a Drobo. If you're investing in the protection of that valuable storage, which you should do with a Drobo, having access to that remotely is a great solution, and you can do that in an easy-to-use way, like all things Drobo, by using the Pogoplug.